Hey, it's Aaron, and today I'm with a 2022 Ford F-150 Lightning. So this is the electrified F-150. It is battery electric, so all batteries. There is no engine, there is no generator, anything. This is the first of a bunch of half-ton electrified pickups we're going to see going forward. There's one coming out pretty soon from Chevy. Ram has announced one. Of course, there's a Tesla Cybertruck that may or may not ever get to production. And there is the Rivian R1T, which came out right about the same time this did. I think it was slightly before. So for the mainstream options, this is it right now, but there are more coming. This is a very well done truck. There are some downsides, I'll get to those, but there are a lot of upsides. If you like full-size pickup trucks and you like everything that they can do in terms of how they ride, how they drive, the little capabilities you can have, like just, run to the hardware store, get whatever you want, throw it in the back, that kind of stuff, this will work for you. If, however, you tow a lot and long distances, this is not going to work for you. Again, I will get to more of that later, but this drives like a truck, feels like a truck, does everything a truck can do, plus it does 0 to 60 in like 4 seconds. So it's also sort of like a muscle car. It's friggin' awesome. But, so let's talk about how this works, what it is. The F-150 Lightning comes in 5 different trim levels. This is the topmost. This is the platinum level. You're starting out at the bottom level to roughly $50,000. At this level, you're more in the $90,000-ish plus range. But this is like a fully loaded, everything you can get. And compared to a regular F-150 Platinum, that price isn't that far off. Now, under the hood, as it were, this is actually a trunk, I'll get to that too. Underneath here, you have 2 motors, 1 on each axle. All-wheel drive is standard with the Lightning, and you have 2 battery pack options. So standard battery pack is, I think it's 84 or 84.5 kilowatt hours. You get about 240 miles of range out of that. If you go to the upper trim levels and you opt for the bigger battery, then you have about 300 miles of range. I think it's an even 100 kilowatt hours on that one. Charge times will vary depending on what you have for a setup. On my setup in my garage, I'm charging at 240 volts, 50 amps, and that will charge this truck from roughly 10% or so all the way to full in about, I want to say 16 hours, 16 or 17 hours. Most people are not going to run that far down when they're plugging in at home or places like that. So most of the time when you plug this in, you'll easily get it pretty close to full overnight or full. Most of the time I've been driving this week, I've only plugged it in maybe 4 times. And most of the time I was fully charged in 5 or 6 hours because if you're not using a whole lot of the range, you really don't have a whole lot to replenish. It is also DC fast charge capable. So if you go to a DC fast charger, you can charge this from about 10 or 15% to 80% in about 40, 45 minutes. So there's your kind of parameters for that. Most of the time driving around, you're going to be just plugging in occasionally at home, and that's it. Now, let's talk a little bit about this drivetrain. So it is all-wheel drive, not four-wheel drive. There is no low gear ratio because there are no gears. With electric motors, you don't need gearing, so there is no gearing on this. This is and I know that there's now going to be some troll that's going to tell me that, yeah, there's a single gear, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. There's no gearbox, okay? And so there is no 4-low, but you don't really need it because, because you have all the power from the get-go. You don't have to, you're not waiting for the engine to ramp up to get the torque to the wheels. The torque is at the wheels as soon as they start spinning because electric motors. So in the snow, you can see behind me, we got a lot of snow this week, and I drove this through all of it, and it did really well. Now, there are some physics to get through because it is a big, heavy machine. Any pickup truck is going to have the same issues that, you tend to be rear biased and you tend to be a little light on the back, and so you end up with that. The good news for this is the weight is much more even than it is in a standard gasoline or diesel truck, because the weight is all in the batteries, and the batteries are across the floor between those axles. So you end up with really good balance. But it still has sheer weight, so you still do slide when you try to stop and stuff. Upside with batteries, once again, is you have regenerative braking, and it feels like Jake brakes on a big truck. It slows you down considerably and safely. You're not having to use the brake pedal and the physical brakes to do it. It's just slowing down by pulling the inertia out of the axle. I use that a lot, and I got used to one pedal driving. You can literally drive this as long as you're not stopped on a hill at one angle or the other. You can literally drive this stoplight to stoplight and never put your foot on the brake. It will do it for you, runs the brake lights automatically, all that stuff. You just have to keep your foot on the throttle and use the throttle to regulate your speed. So pretty cool stuff there. One other big giant bonus to electric vehicles: when you come out and it is like it is today, it's 4 degrees out here. I know it looks bright and sunny, but it is 4 degrees outside right now. And when you come out on a day like this and you got snow and ice and crap all over your car and the inside is friggin' in the negatives and whatever, you get in, you push the on button, you turn on the defrost, you turn on the heated seats, it starts producing heat almost immediately. You will clear your windshield about half the time it takes in a car, and you will, in a gas vehicle, and you will have heat coming out of the vents within seconds of turning it on. That is a huge bonus for people like me that live in places like this. Now, let's talk about some downsides before I do a walk around and we talk a little bit about design. Huge downside: if you tow, you will only get about 1/3 of the rated mileage on this. Many people have towed with it, and every single one of them has reported pretty much the same thing. Towing range on this is only about 100 miles. It is not good. So if you plan to tow, probably shouldn't buy an electric truck. Second caveat: if you haul loads, and I'm talking about more than just your 2 pieces of plywood and 5 2x4s from Home Depot. I'm talking about real loads, like you put 1,000 pounds of stuff in there or something. If you put a real load of stuff in there and you try to haul it, you're going to have about half your expected range. So if your range is 240 miles, you're now at 120. That's, again, it's electric. That's a downside. Another downside, of course, if you're used to running all the way down to empty and then just pulling in and spending 10 minutes at the pump and leaving, you can't do that with this. But most people that are smart are not running their tank that low. We don't tend to run till the empty light comes on and then go fill it. So most people who are using this in a regular way every day, who don't go too far, who don't, as far as hauling your stuff or whatever, the most people, this is a good truck. But if you are somebody who uses a working truck, hauls a lot of stuff, and goes a lot of miles, this won't work for you. That's just how it is. Now, I await the trolls, because I know there's going to be everybody on the planet who's going to tell me all the reasons why this truck sucks. They're going to tell me all the reasons why you can't have an electric truck. And that's great. I just went over them, okay? So if you come here and plan on trolling about how terrible these are for anything, I am just going to delete your comment. You're useless. I already went over everything that's bad about these. Now, let's talk about design, because there's a couple things that I think are really cool. I'll show you some pictures to illustrate as well, but rather than move the camera around, I'll just open it right here. So there's a button under here. You also have it on the key fob, and then I keep forgetting this opens on its own. This is the front trunk. I don't remember the size. I think it's about 14 cubic feet, but I got 6 bags of 40-pound bags of pellets in here for the pellet stove in our house. No problem. They stacked up like this. You've also got bunch of 110 outlets and USBs up here. So if you want to plug in something to, you know, run it, tailgate, whatever you're doing, even power tools, there you go. I'll show you when we get back there. There's another set of these back there on the in the bed, just like the F-150 hybrid, which is a video I would refer you to if you want to know how that truck is an awesome job site generator. Anyway, there's a cargo net here. You can move it a little bit. There's some more hooks up here so you can hang your grocery bags or move that cargo net to wherever you need it. There's also under here a small storage space that in this case actually has the manufacturer supplied plug. But that small storage space, you can fill it with ice. There's a drain plug in it. Really cool. This is perfect for tailgating. You also have tie down points. There's 2 over there and 2 up here. So if you have something in here that you need to tie down so it doesn't shift around, there you go. It's all set. So this is a great feature. This is also where you fill the windshield washer fluid, and I believe your battery contacts are up here if you need to jump start or somebody. Yeah, they're behind this panel. Pretty useful up here. This has LED lights up here that shine down. You can turn them on and off right there. And just a really useful feature right here. This front trunk is great. Grocery shopping, grabbing the handful of things that you want to hide, you know, so that you're not leaving them in the back of it. Tailgating, like I said, lots of stuff, lots of uses for this thing. Really cool. Let's go talk a little bit about design, and then we'll go around and look at the working end. Okay, I'm not going to wax too poetic about the design. It is basically an F-150. A couple of key differences you'll notice. The lighting here is different. It's the same shape, but it's a different kind of lighting. Kind of denotes that it's electric because this has a slight blue hue to it, these LEDs. You also have this giant thing right here. This is actually your plug. That's where you plug it in to charge. You can lock and unlock from here, so you can put the plug in and lock and walk away. The bottom portion of it is the controller for DC fast charging. So that is your filler port, as it were. Then you have actually that's pretty much it. The wheels are really the only other big difference. So these are aerodynamic wheels. Again, they are mostly to denote that this is electric, but they are really kind of cool looking. These are all season grabbers, pretty decent tires. They've done really well out here in the snow. These, I believe, are standard with this. If not, they should be. But otherwise, you pretty much have F-150 everywhere. Same body shaping, same door code locks, same everything going on, with one exception, that being the lightning badge right across here. And then on the back, I'll show you another one. But other than that, it looks like an F-150. Looks, acts, drives, feels like F-150. Let's go back there and look at the working end. All right, you can see it comes with a tow package. You can also see that the lighting here is exactly, pretty close anyway, to what's on the regular F-150. This is pretty much the same. You have trailer plugs here, tow receiver down there, and then you see the lightning with the American flag. That's the other badge I wanted to show you. Towing on this is rated at 10,000 pounds for some versions, and a little less than that for others. So this particular one with the Platinum package is at 8,400 pounds of towing. If you get the smaller battery pack with this, then your towing is down to, I think it's 75 or 7,700 pounds, somewhere in there. So, right, but like I said, if you're towing with this, it's short distance. This is more like, hauling your utility trailer over to the box store so you can buy a bunch of crap. It's not for towing across the country because you got to take the boat to the lake 500 miles away or something. All right, so anyway, back here, opening the back, you can see it's soft open just like a regular F-150. 5.5 foot bed, that's the only option for this. You can't get a longer bed, it's only this one. But this bed is pretty useful, comes with a bed liner. You got eight regular household plugs over there, plus a round, I forget what they're called, the round style 3-prong things. And then you have all these tie downs. You can see them here. They are locking. You can remove them. You can put them back, whatever. You have 4 feet between the wheel wells, just like any other F-150. You have all kinds of options for loading, tying down, all that good stuff. Wonderful setup. Now, if you do take this and use it at the job site, you can turn those on and off. They run off the vehicle's battery. You can run your power tools. You can do whatever. Again, refer to that F-150 hybrid video I did to get a little bit more about what this is like what something like this is like as a job site generator. LED lighting in here is part of the Platinum package, I believe, but I think you can get it from a bunch of the packages that are available on different trims, and there's an on-off switch for those. Lightweight tailgate. Again, it's Ford, so this is aluminum. This is aluminum body all over the place. Really, really well done. So let's talk about the interior just for a minute, and then we'll kind of wrap this up. So here you go, crew cab back seats. They're gigantic. This Platinum Edition has the Bang & Olufsen stereo system, which is bomb diggity. You got a bunch of USBs back here. You got heated outboard seats. Again, F-150 Platinum. You have storage underneath the seats, and yeah. So there you go, pretty decent back seat. Let's go look at the front. That's where the action is anyway. I will try to show you a couple of photos. I'm not going to get in and do like I usually do. I'm just going to talk really quick. Pretty much F-150 Platinum package. So everything you're seeing in here is what you would also find on the gasoline version of this truck, with maybe 2 exceptions. One of those is the instrument cluster is different because this is electric. It doesn't have a tachometer or any of that stuff because you don't need it. Other exception is actually I think that's it. That's the only exception, is that. You have the hides away gear shifter. This turns into a desk, all that stuff. This seat folds flat if you need to like take a nap or something. I think both of them do actually. Those sorts of things. All the stuff you can find on the regular F-150 Platinum is also in the F-150 Lightning Platinum. So there you go. That's the interior. All right, there you have it. The 2022 and 23, they didn't really change much for 2023. F-150, Ford F-150 Lightning. This is a really good truck. Really good first electric truck too. We're going to see these gain in capability over time. Right now, like I said many times, with all the caveats and all the little asterisks and everything else that I've been saying that everybody's going to ignore and troll me on anyway, these are not really for prime-time truck buyers. These are really for the regular Joe truck driver or truck buyer. The person who mostly commutes and goes to the hardware store and does their normal things with it. If you tow a bunch, this won't work for you. If you haul a bunch of stuff on the daily, this won't work for you. If you drive very long distances, this isn't for you. So all those people are accepted, but I think for a pretty good portion of the kind of the urban cowboy crowd, I guess you could call them, the people that just drive their Ford F-150 or drive their pickup truck like a regular car on the daily, this is great. So here's your good option. You get perfect fuel economy because there is no fuel. Get it? Anyway, this is a really good option for a fairly large portion of truck buyers. You might not want to admit it, but chances are if you drive a pickup truck on the daily, you don't actually use it to work. You actually just drive it around like a car. And that's perfectly fine. I don't have any problem with that. I think trucks are great. I live where they're all over the place. About a third of the vehicles on the road here in Wyoming are some sort of truck or large SUV. So yeah, that's normal. And if you're worried about what it's going to do in the cold weather, works great. I've had no problems. We got like 2 feet of snow this week, and we got sub-zero temperatures overnight. So we got all the stuff you can imagine is terrible in weather. This did fine. It got around okay. I used it to literally plow and tamp down my driveway. I used it to get my kids to school when the roads were shit, and I probably shouldn't say shit. Anyway, and I said it twice now. YouTube's going to hate me. And yeah, I used it for all that stuff. You get stuck in a traffic jam, let me just clear this up. If you get stuck in a traffic jam in an electric vehicle, you are better off than all the people in their gasoline vehicles. The reason I tell you that is because, one, your heat only has to work when it has to. You have hours, probably days, depending on your charge state, of sitting and idling time with the heat on in this thing, okay? Versus your car, which no matter what, uses 1/3 to half a gallon of fuel just to sit and idle, whether you're running the heat or not. So you are way better off in this than you are in one of those in your gasoline car. You're at least equal at worst. So I don't want to hear about that either. I know the trolls are going to be coming because it's an electric truck, electric stuff. People hate it. But whatever. I think this is great. So I think Ford did a really good job. It's a good first electric truck, okay? You have to think of it in that way. This is not for everybody. This is not the perfect truck for every scenario, but neither is your regular truck, okay? Your regular truck that you're driving around, it can't haul 20,000 pounds. Wow, it must suck. Or it can't get 25 miles a gallon. Oh, what a pile of crap, okay? Geez, not everything is perfect for every situation. This is good for a large portion of buyers. I'm going to say 30 to 40% of buyers can use this truck if this is what they wanted to have. So there you go. That's what I got. This has been Aaron, putting tons of caveats and calling out the trolls on my channel because I'm really cold. I'm starting to lose feeling in my fingers already. It's 4 degrees. Might be 5 now. Sun's been out for like an hour. So anyway, that's what I got. This has been Aaron talking about the Ford F-150 Lightning. Talk to you again soon.
Subscribe.